better understand what maybe other people go through, but also, to be the best teammate I can be. And, I think coming...
It didn't start with a headline, not with a buzzy Instagram post. It started with silence. No injury report. No update from the Indiana Fever. No practice footage. No post-game interview. Just an empty space where Caitlin Clark used to be. The most talked about rookie in WNBA history had vanished. And not just physically. She wasn't showing up in lineups. She wasn't answering questions. She wasn't smiling on the bench or even mentioned by name in post-game pressers. The energy shifted. Fast. A week earlier, Clark had been on fire, dropping dimes, drilling logo threes, single-handedly keeping Indiana in playoff talks. The next, nothing. A carefully worded day-to-day label from the Fever's PR team, followed by nothing else. That's not strategy. That's not rest. That's a blackout. And fans noticed immediately. Her name stopped trending. Press coverage turned vague. And worst of all, the Fever didn't offer clarity. They offered distance. No, we're supporting her recovery. No, here's what happened. Here's what's next. Just a curtain. And behind it, a whole lot of questions. Was she injured again? Was she benched? Was she walking away? The silence didn't calm anyone. It amplified the chaos. Because in pro sports, silence means something, especially when it surrounds the face of your franchise. Clark didn't owe the public an explanation. But the franchise, the league, the thousands of fans showing up just to see her, they expected something. Instead, they got a void. Not just on the scoreboard, but in the spirit of the team. A missing presence. An absence so loud, it felt intentional. Because let's be honest, this wasn't just a groin tweak. This wasn't a precautionary rest day. This felt deeper, calculated, personal. And in the WNBA, where narratives are carefully controlled and media cycles move fast, going dark isn't normal. It's a choice. Which begs the question, why would the most electrifying player in women's basketball suddenly choose silence? And more importantly, what was she trying to say by saying nothing at all? In May, it was her quad. Barely 3 weeks later, groin strain. By June, she was limping again. By July, it wasn't just one injury anymore. It was a pattern. 4 muscle-related injuries in under 5 months. That's not bad luck. That's not adjusting to the league. That's a red flag waving in plain sight. And here's the part that made fans squirm. Each time she went down, the timeline got shorter. The return came quicker. And the explanations? Weaker. Commentators started connecting the dots. She's cleared for tonight's game, but didn't practice full speed this week. She tweaked something mid-game but played through it. She looks a step slow, but hey, it's Caitlin Clark. She'll fight through it. But should she have? Caitlin Clark wasn't just a player. She was the ticket, the national broadcast, the sold-out arena, the storyline that kept the WNBA on the front page. And when that much attention is on one athlete, something dangerous happens. Pressure replaces patience. Return timelines aren't based on recovery. They're based on ratings. The phrase day-to-day becomes a trapdoor, not a lifeline. And the voice that matters most, the athletes, gets buried under medical clearance forms and media expectations. Fans started keeping track. May 3rd, return from quad strain. May 26th, back again, this time from the groin. Mid-June, visible discomfort, still played. July 15th, re-aggravated the groin. Again. Each time, it followed the same script. Sidelined, rushed, re-injured, repeat. And through it all, Clark smiled through interviews, answered questions like a pro, showed up, until one day, she didn't. Because something changed after that last injury. Not just in her body, in her mindset, in her trust. That carousel of injury and return didn't just wear her down physically. It wore her out emotionally. And it all led to one quiet but powerful decision. She stopped playing along. At first, it looked like she was benched. Then it looked like she was hurt. But neither of those told the full story. Because while Indiana tiptoed around the word injury, Caitlin Clark was making moves they didn't see coming. She skipped a scheduled check-in with the Fever's medical team. No explanation. No apology. No negotiation. And then came the headline: Clark seeking a second opinion on her groin injury, outside the team. That's not routine. That's a message. She wasn't just rehabbing her body. She was rebuilding her boundaries. And behind the scenes, that single move sparked something deeper, something fractured. Insiders confirmed what fans had started whispering. Clark wasn't looping in team doctors anymore. She wasn't asking. She was deciding. Why? Because trust had been broken. Quietly, slowly, publicly. You don't fly to another state for a second opinion unless you believe the first one isn't enough. You don't sidestep your own franchise unless you think they're not protecting you. And then came the quote that blew the doors off. Coach Stephanie White, asked whether she'd spoken to the medical staff about Clark's evaluation, said this: "No, not yet. Not I'll get with them soon. Not we're aligned. Just nothing." That wasn't just a misstep. That was a signal. The player, the coach, the doctors, no one was on the same page. And for a franchise built around one generational talent, that disconnect, that's catastrophic. Because this wasn't about a pulled muscle anymore. It was about belief, control, agency. Caitlin Clark had seen the cycle. Get hurt, get cleared, get hurt again. She played through it. She trusted the process until the process betrayed her. And instead of blowing up, she chose something far more powerful: distance. She didn't issue a statement. She didn't call a press conference. She just stopped showing up on their terms. And in that silence, she did something bold. She took back control. July 22nd, Barclays Center. Indiana had just been dismantled by the New York Liberty. Again, Caitlin Clark didn't stick around for post-game pleasantries. She wasn't in the locker room. She wasn't on the bus. She was in the tunnels, behind closed doors, but not alone. A few blurry photos changed everything. There she was, Clark, her agent, Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello. Also present, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu. No smiles, no fanfare, no great game energy. Just focused faces, crossed arms, serious body language. It didn't look casual. Within hours, the photos leaked online. Within minutes, the internet erupted. Hashtag Clark2NY started trending. Liberty fans weren't just excited. They were manifesting. Reddit exploded with theories. Was it a recruiting pitch? Was it business related? Was it nothing or everything? And Indiana, they said exactly what you'd expect. No comment. But silence, once again, said more than words ever could. Sports insiders began connecting dots that weren't even subtle anymore. Clark had just gone dark with the fever. She was openly building her own medical circle. And now she was being spotted in deep conversation with the most powerful figures in the Liberty organization. Even if nothing was said aloud, it was a message. To Indiana, to the WNBA, to every franchise watching the situation unfold. And here's what made the whole thing even more interesting. The Liberty didn't run from the rumors. They didn't deny anything. They let the photos breathe. Because they know what everyone else knows. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's the player. And if a superstar like that feels unprotected, unheard, or underestimated, other franchises will start circling, especially ones with money, legacy, a championship culture, teams that don't just want a scorer, they want a centerpiece. So, was it a business conversation? A brand chat? A recruitment? Nobody really knows. But the setting, the timing, the optics, they weren't accidental. And for the first time, it felt real. Caitlin Clark, the face of the Indiana Fever, might already be planning a future somewhere else. She stopped waiting. No more relying on franchise trainers. No more trusting injury timelines that felt rushed. No more playing through pain just to keep a box office dream alive. Caitlin Clark decided to build something different. Something personal. Something independent. Sources close to the situation say she began assembling her own network, quietly, strategically, and without asking for permission. A private strength coach, a recovery specialist, a performance dietitian flown in from California, a physical therapist with NBA playoff experience. None of them report to the Fever. All of them report to her. Call it Team Clark. A circle of professionals designed around one priority: Caitlyn's long-term health. Not ticket sales. Not a Tuesday night win against Phoenix. Not franchise optics. Her body. Her schedule. Her future. And this wasn't just about better training. It was about control. She started tracking her own recovery benchmarks, managing load, scheduling treatment, making sure her return wasn't based on a press release, but on readiness. What once ran through the team now ran through her. And here's what makes it revolutionary: that level of autonomy. It's rare in the WNBA. Players don't usually build private health teams. Not in their rookie year, not with their own money, and certainly not without friction. But Clark isn't most players. She saw what happened when she followed the plan. And she saw what happened when that plan broke her down. So she wrote a new one. And just like that, the balance of power shifted. She wasn't just the Fever's rookie anymore. She wasn't just a player with a name on a jersey. She was a movement. One that said, I know my body. I know my worth. I know what happens when I give up that control. And I'm not doing that anymore. Not for this team. Not for this system. Not for anyone. And make no mistake, other players are watching. Because when a rookie refuses to be treated like a product, it gives others permission to do the same. The era of just being grateful to be in the league? It's over. And Caitlin Clark didn't announce that with a statement. She did it with a choice. To take ownership of herself before the system could take another piece of her. The Indiana Fever built everything around Caitlin Clark. The offense, the brand, the identity. And when she stepped off the court, so did the spotlight. The wins dried up. The tickets slowed down. The national buzz? Gone. Without Clark, Indiana's record didn't just take a dip. It collapsed. Before her injury, the Fever were fighting for a playoff spot. Now, they're fighting to stay relevant. But it's not just the scoreboard that's haunting them. It's the silence. Crowds used to roar when she pulled up from 30 feet. Now, there are open seats in rows that were sold out weeks ago. Broadcast ratings that once surged every time she touched the ball, suddenly flatlining. They didn't just lose a point guard. They lost momentum. Because here's the truth no one in the front office wants to say out loud. The Fever need Caitlin Clark more than she needs them. She put them on the national map. She turned a struggling franchise into a media juggernaut. She brought new fans into the WNBA. People who didn't know the league existed last year, but now wear her jersey like a badge of honor. And what did she get in return? A coach who couldn't protect her. A medical staff she stopped trusting. A system that seemed more focused on profits than preservation. It started with a whisper. Then came the blog posts. Then the fan-made trade machines. Then the articles that began. Don't rule it out. By late July, the WNBA rumor mill wasn't spinning. It was on fire. Caitlin Clark, trade candidate. Unthinkable just 3 months ago. Now, not so crazy. Yahoo Sports floated it first. If Indiana can't course correct, don't be surprised if trade talks begin sooner than expected. Fansided called the situation untenable. Bleacher Report put the Liberty, Aces, and Mercury on high alert. Even respected league analysts were saying it out loud. If Clark wants out, teams will move mountains. Because she isn't just a good player. She's the player. And in a league that's still fighting for airtime and mainstream respect, Caitlin Clark is a walking brand boost. A sponsorship magnet. A ratings cheat code. A guaranteed sellout everywhere. Franchises see it. Vegas. They've got the culture, the money, the championship pedigree. New York. Already stacked. But with Clark? Instant dynasty. Phoenix. Desperate for a rebuild and willing to do whatever it takes. Each of them has something Indiana doesn't right now leverage. Because here's the part Indiana forgot. You can't just keep someone like Caitlin Clark because you drafted her. You keep her because she wants to stay. And that part, it's getting shakier by the day. Her body language, her absence from team activities, the fact that her entire medical operation now exists outside of the Fever's control. Every signal says the same thing. She's not all in anymore. And the moment she formally says those words out loud, even behind closed doors, everything changes. Because the WNBA doesn't have time for long, drawn-out feuds. No one wins in that war. not the team, not the league, not the fans. So trade talks, they wouldn't be a betrayal. They'd be damage control. If Clark quietly tells Indiana she's done, the Fever have two options. Ride it out, risk losing her for nothing. Flip the script, secure a historic trade package, rebuild from the wreckage. And as the trade deadline creeps closer, the pressure isn't on Clark. It's on Indiana. Because if they don't fix this soon, someone else will. And Clark, she won't need to demand anything. She won't need to create drama. All she'll have to do is say yes when another city comes calling. Caitlin Clark is 23 years old. But listen to her speak, and you'd think she spent a decade in this league. At All-Star Weekend, when asked how her body felt, she didn't sugarcoat it. This is the first time I haven't felt like a young body that can sprint around every day. That's not just wear and tear. That's weariness. The kind that settles in when pain becomes routine. When decisions are made for you, not with you. When the people around you treat your body like a business. And now, she's walking. Not sprinting. Not limping. Just walking. Calm. Focused. Unshaken. The kind of walk that doesn't double back. The kind that signals, I'm done playing your game. Caitlin Clark doesn't owe Indiana a comeback. She owes herself a future. And she's not asking for permission to go find it.